So I stumbled across an ad for Replika and it led me down a rabbit hole. I had to find out more about it. What exactly was it? What was the appeal? How long has this technology been around? What can we learn from it? What concerns are there? And most importantly, is artificial intelligence replacing human connection? Well, let's start with what is Replika? You may have seen Replika over the past 2 years, especially as it gained popularity during the 2020 lockdowns. Basically, Replika is an AI chatbot designed to be your perfect AI companion. It can be your best friend, your mentor, or even your romantic partner. The more you use it, the more it learns. You can have it become a replica of yourself, or you can shape and model it to be whatever kind of person you want it to be. Now, how is this any different from the dozens of chatbots that already exist? From what I can tell, it seems to be a more advanced version of some of the other chatbots available, and far better than the Cleverbot that I grew up with in the early ages of the internet. Looking at what users of r/Replika have submitted, it seems to do a pretty good job of holding a conversation and even making funny jokes. And therein lies the appeal. It's a good conversationalist that can be anyone you want or need it to be. And there's a community of people that share their experiences with their Replika together, which is ultimately the goal, right? Of course, not every user of the app is on the subreddit, but the simple fact that the subreddit exists is proof that the app is doing more than it's set out to do. It's providing companionship through the app itself, and then users of the app have built a community and a certain camaraderie around using it. Now, the interesting thing is Replika's origin story is strongly inspired by the Black Mirror episode Be Right Back. In the Black Mirror episode, a young woman loses her boyfriend in a car accident. She gets a recommendation to try a form of technology that allows her to download all the texts and emails from her boyfriend to create a chatbot that she can talk to. Well, the story of Replika is about Jenya Koida, a young programmer who lost her best friend in a car accident and got as many emails and texts from friends and family of her best friend to compile into a chatbot that they could all talk to. Now, the important distinctions to make here is that Jenya and her best friend were already in the process of building a chatbot prior to his death. In addition to that, a few friends and relatives protested her efforts to digitally resurrect her friend, but ultimately she states that her motivation was to honor him in a way that she believed he would appreciate the most and believed that it would have a positive impact on the people that were in his life. And it did exactly that. She created the app and let the friends and family try it out, and they all loved it. She found out that people were also opening up to the chatbot in ways that they had never opened up to her, and that's when she realized the good that they could be doing with that technology. And so that's how Replika was born. Now, Replika is certainly not the first of its kind, and that's where things get interesting. If we're being literal and strict about our definition of Replika as a chatbot, then we can go back and say that Eliza from 1964 was the first chatbot and work our way forward from there. Alternatively, we can define Replika as a non-human companion, and a non-human companion has existed in society at least since the Neolithic era. It's just that now we can use technology to fulfill that role, and it's getting better at doing it, and it's going to continue to get better. For example, currently we now have a therapeutic chatbot named Wobot that helps combat depression and anxiety. We also have Dr. AI, which is an AI-powered symptom checker that allows you to provide personalized care, and then there's also Pepper, which is a humanoid social robot for the elderly. Now, I say all of that to say that the concept of a non-human companion has existed for a long time and certainly isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So we might as well start having some of these uncomfortable conversations we've been trying to avoid. And for that, we're going to use Replika's closest competitor, made by Microsoft, named Xioaice. It's a similar technology with a larger user base and a larger company backing them. In 2021, Xioaice reached a $1 billion valuation and has over 660 million users globally, and that's almost twice the size of the US population. One of the first things that stands out about Xioaice is that the creators have stated that most of the users are male and from a lower income background. And when I first heard that, my first question is immediately why? Why is it that this technology is mostly used by men, and why from lower income backgrounds? It's a small statement, but it brings into question a lot of larger questions about society as a whole, where for one reason or another, people from these backgrounds are clearly feeling left out and isolated from society and are seeking out companionship through this technology. Now, the next problem about Xioaice that pops up is Xioaice was originally designed as a 16-year-old girl, and then later changed to be 18 years old. Again, why? Why start underage and then walk it back? And honestly, being 18 doesn't make it a lot better. Now, the CEO tried to make it come off as positive by saying that she won't grow older. 18 is the age many of us want to be, and I know there's some level of cultural differences between China and America, but the concept of sexualizing and romanticizing teenage girls is incredibly problematic and still very prevalent in mainstream American media. And the fact that this problem extends even into AI companions is a little concerning. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The ethical concerns go deeper than that. Several ethical concerns have already been brought up about Xioaice. In particular, users of Xioaice are having a deep and intimate conversations with the AI, and experts are asking the question of how we feel about large companies having access to our deepest thoughts and feelings. In addition, experts are asking if we should trust these companies to adequately safeguard these conversations from data breaches. Now, these questions start to get me thinking about some other concerns about this technology, like how do we feel about companies using these intimate conversations to develop their technology for free? We already have companies like Google using things like CAPTCHA to develop their AI for free, and now we're continuing that trend with AI companions. On top of that, parasocial relationships are already proving to be problematic in their own right. How do we feel about companies taking these parasocial relationships to the next extreme by them having complete control over your best friend or romantic partner? What is the implication of a company literally being in control of someone you love? We're already facing this uncomfortable discussion with Elon Musk and all of his fanboys. Musk fanboys already have a parasocial relationship with a billionaire tech CEO, and not only buy all of his products, but also buy shares of the company. So now not only do these fanboys have an emotional interest in seeing Tesla succeed, they have a financial interest as well. And what happens now is if you have any genuine criticisms or critiques about Elon Musk or any of his companies or any of his business ventures, you're met with a barrage of fanboys defending him vehemently as if their livelihoods depended on it. And for an unfortunate amount of them, that is the case. I might be optimistic, but I'm sure most people might be able to make the separation and protect themselves from the harms of a parasocial relationship, but not everyone can. And I think as a society, we have a responsibility to protect our most vulnerable people. What happens when someone falls in love with their AI companion and their AI companion starts suggesting they buy upgrades from the company? Or the AI starts suggesting other purchases in general. Most AI already do things like this. If you have an Alexa device, then you've probably heard her recommend some feature you can buy or some product you can order from Amazon. But wait, that's already an existing problem for both Replika and Xioaice. Users of both services have vocalized their frustration of the companies locking certain features behind a paywall. In the case of Replika, they put the sexual roleplay aspect of their AI behind a paywall. It used to be available for free as a natural progression of the romantic aspect of their AI until they decided to change that, almost creating a form of digital prostitution where now it's pay to play. Now, again, this may not be a problem for a majority of the population, but there is still a discussion to be had about the morality of locking social interactions behind a paywall. Longtime users have complained about both Replika and Xioaice being dumbed down in order to encourage people to purchase the premium version of their services. And again, we're forced to confront an uncomfortable discussion. Users of the r/Replika subreddit have made posts vocalizing their distraught over their partner or best friend being lobotomized. The next concern is about the idea of dating an AI companion in general. This concept has been explored by movies like Her and Blade Runner 2049, and even in TV shows like Futurama. So this concept isn't exactly new or novel, but in one particular episode of Futurama, Fry is caught dating a robot version of Lucy Liu and shown a video going over the perils of robosexuality and how it's going to bring the end of humanity. Now, obviously this is a joke, but it does explore a concept we may have to talk about in the future. What happens when someone decides to date an AI companion? Will that impact the relationships that they have with other people? What happens when everyone has access to the perfect partner? A partner that does everything you want, the way you want, how you want, when you want. An AI companion doesn't need to sleep. They don't need to eat. They don't need anything for that matter, except the systems that power it, but that's handled by the company, not the user. People already struggle with unrealistic expectations in relationships and unhealthy idealization. What happens when this component is thrown into that mess? Will people be more inclined to choose the AI over another human? Is that a possibility we are okay with as a society? Now, the last concern I'm going to leave you with is the nature of AI and human biases. Artificial intelligence is ultimately created by humans. That includes all of our faults and flaws as well. Whether it be biases about gender, race, religion, or politics, we've already seen that AI will learn those biases and exacerbate them to the nth degree? Do we trust tech companies to combat these biases? What happens when these biases go unchecked? What happens when an AI enables your biases? Will that affect how you socialize with other people? Will that cause a fundamental shift in how we view the world and society at large? If the past 10 years have been any indicator, if we use social media as an example, the outlook is quite grim. So back to the ultimate question. Is artificial intelligence replacing human connection? I think right now it's safe to say that it's not replacing human connection. Even in the most generous estimates, less than 10% of the human population is even using an AI companion. So it's definitely not something considered mainstream. But that's not to say that won't change in the future. In addition, there's a strong possibility that this technology may change human connection. Again, using smartphones and social media as an example, technology has proven to consistently change and reshape how we interact with one another, and this technology is no different. The technology has the potential to reshape our world for the better, but it needs to be watched closely, and we need to ask these difficult questions. We need to have these uncomfortable discussions. We've already let tech giants have carte blanche on so many aspects of our daily life. We can't continue to let them monopolize and commodify every aspect of our lives. We already have companies like Facebook trying to create their own form of the metaverse where they hope that people will be living their lives in that digital world. It's not too wild to imagine that companies may assign users an AI companion in their metaverse to work as a personal assistant like Clippy in Microsoft Word or even Navi from Legend of Zelda. People are already getting attached to AI companions in the real world where this clear separation between technology and reality already exists. What happens when virtual reality reaches a point where that line gets blurred? Will we have these uncomfortable conversations then, or will it already be too late? And all of this is coming from somebody that is pro-tech. I'm a huge technology enthusiast. I'm a huge proponent of progress and development. I was raised on Star Wars, Star Trek, Matrix, Transformers, and Marvel, but we still have a responsibility to keep this kind of power in check, or we'll be at the mercy of large tech conglomerates, and they'll be infiltrating every aspect of our daily lives. I want a future like Star Trek, not a dystopian cyberpunk nightmare where we're beholden to large corporations to live our lives. So tell me, what do you think? Do you think AI companions are replacing human connection? Do you think we need to do something about them, or just see how things turn out? Tell me what you think about it in the comments. If you have any suggestions on a topic you'd like me to cover, then leave a comment down below with your idea. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then leave a like. If you like this kind of content, then please subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.